This is the story of some of the most courageous men and one of the most daring enterprises ever attempted by mankind. It is the story of great railroad companies that had but one goal: to build the first transcontinental railroad straight across the unexplored America of the 19th century. They were brave pioneers who entered into a race against time and exposed themselves to unbelievable dangers, even if it meant losing their lives. Thousands of workers, tons of materials, and unbelievable sums of money were needed to make this enormous dream a reality. No one had even the slightest idea what to expect. The unfathomable expanse of a wild, rough continent lay before an army of inexperienced workers. They had to overcome massive mountains with snow-covered passes, gaping canyons and merciless deserts. And competing railroad companies harassed each other too. Acts of sabotage and underhanded attacks would soon become part of the sorrow-filled lives of the railroad pioneers. The battle for wealth, fame, and honor had begun. As the owner of a small railroad company, you are faced with the colossal challenge of building the first transcontinental railroad across the United States. But the journey to become a road baron is a long and difficult one. This is where you take your first steps into the new world. Your job is to scout the countryside, set up a small railroad network, and do business on it. Familiarize yourself with the basic controls of the game. When you are finished, click on the open end of the tracks with your left mouse button to learn the basics about how to build a railroad. You can use the left mouse button to click on buildings and other objects. New track can only be laid from the rail network you have already built. You can either continue from an open end or branch off from an existing section of track by building a switch. As long as you don't confirm a section of track by pressing the OK button, you are in planning mode and can change the track as often as you wish. Track construction does not begin until you confirm with the green OK button. A train station can only be built in the immediate vicinity of a city or a resource field. Please remember that the subsoil influences both the construction costs and the speed of your trains later. Built track and stations can be removed at any time. To do so, select the end of the track and press the red Demolish button in the middle of the direction arrows in the track building menu. When you demolish, you will be reimbursed for a portion of the track costs. The pioneer is the leader of your troop of scouts. He allows you to scout unfamiliar territory. The prospector evaluates the sources of raw materials you find and authorizes you to sell them. The trapper protects your troop from wild animals and other dangers. As a rule, your troop of scouts can have up to 4 members. If a cook is available, your troop can be expanded to up to 8 members. If you see a red symbol in the countryside showing a trapper, that means your troop is in danger. But since your troop of scouts includes a trapper, you have nothing to fear. You will encounter other symbols in the course of the game. They indicate which member of your troop is needed to eliminate the danger. If a danger is not eliminated, then it will continue to pose a threat to your troop and your trains later. If you send a member of your troop to eliminate a danger, then he leaves the troop and is no longer available. Resource this cornfield here must be evaluated before they can produce raw materials. The prospector performs this task and then releases the field for commercial use. Resource fields are always located outside cities and are distributed throughout the country. They produce raw materials that are in demand in the cities and that are needed to produce refined products. Resource fields constantly need laborers in the form of passengers. You can have locomotives and cars built at any time in the industrial quarter. Only one building contract can be processed at any time. Naturally, you can build multiple locomotives and cars of the same type. The major differences between the locomotives are purchase price, max. When having cars built, always pay attention to the type of freight you want to transport with it. Each type of freight has its own car. The freight symbols in the table explain which goods can be transported using which cars. New types of cars and locomotives must be researched in the engineering quarter. Only then can they be built in the industrial quarter. Route planning is carried out exclusively through your train stations, where you have access to the locally available locomotives, cars, and freight. You can put your trains together separately for each journey at the station. When putting together your trains, be sure to monitor the specifications indicator below the locomotives. The blue bar shows the locomotive power, and the red bar shows the maximum speed of the locomotive in question. The speed of your train depends on the specifications of the locomotive, as well as the number and type of cars and freight you select. The speed indicator is helpful when optimizing the number and type of cars in your train. The consumers who purchase the loaded freight are highlighted in color in the destination indicator. Be sure to note the bonus you will receive if you only use freight locomotives highlighted in blue to transport freight highlighted in blue when putting together your trains. The same thing applies to red express freight and locomotives. Route planning can be carried out over multiple stations. The composition of your train can be changed at each destination. You can also set up permanent trading routes, which helps to automate the planning process. Then your trains transport the goods on the planned routes on their own. Setting up a permanent trade route is only possible under the following conditions. First, the route must end at the same station it starts at, so that a closed trading circle is created. And second, you shouldn't change the composition of the train at the various stations. To dissolve a permanent trade route later, you must select the moving train and deactivate it. Congratulations! You have done an excellent job so far. Get ready to begin the race to build the first transcontinental railroad. From here in, you're on your own. Good luck!